because they have property in the district. But H is for the one up
All
there.
right, at 7 o'clock, we'll call the regular village board meeting to order. If everyone would rise to say the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The clerk would please call the roll.
Marevka? Here. Jones?
Here.
March? Parker?
Here.
Ham?
Here.
Bowden?
Here. Approval or corrections to the minutes of the May 13th, 2019 regular village board meeting. Are there any additions or corrections to those minutes as presented? If not, a motion to accept as presented.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Motion by trustee Jones, seconded by trustee Parker.
Jones?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Bowden?
Yes.
Marevka? Yes.
Accounts payable and payroll. Payroll pay period ending 5/19/19, the amount of $51,475.53. Accounts payable general fund, $76,158.43. Capital improvement fund, $745, giving a total of all funds, $76,903.43. Are there any questions on any of the bills or the payroll?
I did have a question. Johnson's Greenhouse. What was that for?
Would have probably been for flowers.
Okay. Did we have, I know, well, I know that. But did
It's-
we have, I swear, like maybe last year or something, didn't we have a meeting about getting rid of that? Like, not doing that for members? No?
Not that I'm aware of.
Okay.
No.
Maybe I'm thinking of a different, somewhere
Yeah,
else.
I mean, typically, when it's a family member of a village employee,
Right.
that passes away, the village sends flowers to the funeral. I mean, that's kind of something that's always been done.
For some reason I remember that. I don't know. Maybe I dreamt it. Okay. That's all.
Any other questions? All right, if not, a motion to pay the bills and the payroll.
I'll motion it.
Second?
Second.
Motion by trustee Marevka, seconded by trustee Ham.
Marevka?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Bowden?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Public comment and/or questions on anything that's not on the agenda, I guess.
Did I go up to?
Yeah, please, if
Okay.
you'd step up and give your name, please.
My name is Sean Matthews. I live in town over at 516 The Hague. Right before Easter, we bought a few turkey, and it was brought to my attention today that that is not part of, it's not like allowed within the ordinance. However, when I read it, it states nothing about that. It uses a few words. It uses the word chickens, livestock, which turkey are neither. So I was just looking to see if I can get some clarification on that in the future. I'm going to work on trying to obviously remove them, but at the same time, I started a petition online. Over 100, I think 116 signatures are ready. I started at 11 o'clock today. I don't do like Facebook and stuff. Literally, it was just through text messages and friends and spreading the word. Another lady contacted me from town, and she's got the same petition going with over 200. So there's obviously a desire for it. I was just wondering if there's some way we can change it. Obviously, it would still be regulated. There would still be rules with it. But I know there's a ton of towns that are allowing this. I mean, they don't need to do this at this time. I don't get to chew this time up. I'm new to this, so I apologize. But, yeah, so it's just, again, I got 3 boys, trying to teach them responsibility. We built a little fence thing in the backyard. They're contained. They go to bed when we go to bed. They wake up when we do. I see tons of people out walking their dogs. They come over, look at them. So I'm not getting combat from anybody. The neighbors like it.
And his neighbor.
There's one of my neighbors, yeah.
And my daughter does enjoy them, and like he said, many people have stopped by just to see them. And it is a thing amongst towns nowadays where the ordinances are changing.
Could you give your name, sir, for the record, too?
My name is, well, I'll step over. My name is Randy Lentz. I am his neighbor. I live across the street from him. And like I said, many towns, from the things I've read online and newspapers and stuff, it's changing. And yeah, like he said, there needs to be rules about it. But I don't know. I think it's a kind of a good thing to get back to where we were. Raised your own food kind of thing. And I think something should be done about it. Much like him.
I know the ordinance was made in 1982, so it's a little older than me, but it's not old, so it's not like something that's got super deep roots. And again, I'm not looking to fix it tonight or anything,
Right.
but just something that maybe can be discussed about. I'd love to be involved with it, making a change. And again, it definitely rules, X amount of poultry allowed. I know New Lenox does it per square foot, other towns do it per household. Like I said, we started this just as pets. That's pretty much what it is. So, yeah, kind
So
of. just-
under the ordinance now, currently, I mean, would that cover turkeys as well? I mean, under the livestock, or how does?
Yeah, this is the first I'm hearing of it,
Okay.
but just, I mean, generally, like he's saying, back in the 70s, 80s, most ordinances were changed in communities to prohibit livestock type of uses, but there's been a trend, especially with chickens, in communities that would really surprise everybody too.
Some pretty affluent communities.
So, yeah, absolutely.
Naperville included.
Yeah, Naperville, Oak Park, Riverside, Western Springs, all kinds of places. Chicago's had it for years. Generally there's limits on numbers, there's prohibitions on roosters in a lot of cases.
Absolutely.
I agree with that one.
And I've worked on a couple different ones. If you guys are interested, I can show you some samples.
Well, I mean, I think what I do is refer it to committee, for some investigation and some discussion. And I'm trying to think of what committee that would go to.
Who's in charge of turkeys?
I don't know if that would be building or if that would be. I'm not sure where that would fall.
This is something you guys do.
No, I mean, it's something that I'm going to refer, to the building committee, let them gather some information, some facts, and, work with the attorney. When they schedule their committee meeting, it'll be posted, and we'll go from there.
Okay.
All right.
Is there anything I can do to follow that, be a part of it, check
Like I said,
in on it?
once that agenda will be posted online, it'll be posted, on the door here or in the message box out here, and I don't know.
Yeah. So what we'll do is my name's Pat Bond, I'm in charge of the building committee. So what we'll do is we'll be benchmarking communities. What do other communities allow? What do they restrict? And then we'll need an education as far as why turkeys are good for the village of Peatone.
Or chickens or whatever.
Chickens or whatever we want to do.
Technically, I mean, it's poultry is what the turkeys. That's why we went with it, because it says livestock, and again, we looked up livestock, and turkey is clearly stated not to be livestock. So it's like, all right, this shouldn't be a problem. We're fairly new here. We grew up in Mokina, lived in North Carolina, and we moved back and chose here. So, yeah, I mean, I was told too, you should have asked. It's like, but at the same time, it didn't state that. So, like I said, we are going to work on trying to remove them.
I think the board in the past few years has looked at the whole chicken thing and,
I know it's been a hot topic.
has not, has decided not, to allow it in town. But it's something, again, I think that,
At one
we're
point,
willing
they
to
did allow
discuss.
golf carts and side-by-sides and races should be cruising up and down the streets too, so.
Exactly.
Things
So
can change and.
We'll
it's all-
take a look at it, have a discussion, and go from there.
Yeah, and I think, you as an advocate for this, will want you to bring all you can
Sure.
that's on the pro side of that. I think that's a
Bring
fair
both
question.
sides. I almost started a petition against it also. Just so it's just to be fair, it's do the work and not be biased, so.
Appreciate it.
All right, thank you.
All right, thank you.
So,
Thank you.
Any other public comment? All right, reports of committees, village administrator report.
I just want to report on one thing that we officially have received documentation, an official word from DCO that we got the grant for the ADA sidewalk compliance. So we got awarded $119,700 from the Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity. So going way back when we got contacted by a senator's office, I believe. Congressperson to you saying we need something submitted to us like within a week or perhaps even days. And this was submitted, we
It was
finally,
through Lindsay Parker's office
Right.
last year. We received a phone call. It was at a time when the village administrator wasn't here. And Bob and I and Troy, in about 24 hours, I think, put together a proposal and resubmitted it back to them, so.
So you finally got it, congratulations.
Good, awesome, thank you. Very good,
We'll be able to start working on that.
good deal.
And you all approved a location for that work, and so we should be able to go out to bid and start working on that.
Very good.
So that's all I had.
Thank you. No police chief's report tonight. He's at a dispatch meeting. Engineers report.
Nothing specific other than just Route 50. They're trying to continue to work. They want to pave the widening sections if it ever stops raining. So
Yeah,
they're just kind of moving along, but it's taking some time with the bad weather.
the weather is definitely not cooperated. All right, no old business, move on to new business. Item A, raffle license, Teach Outdoor Incorporated NFP fundraiser for nonprofit to be held at the Will County Fairgrounds, 8/25/19. So this is in conjunction with the Will County Fair, and it's for a raffle, approximately 1,000 chances, and it's a fundraiser for a nonprofit 501c organization whose mission is getting kids outside through outdoor educational adventures. Is there a motion?
Motion.
Second?
I'll second it.
Motion by trustee Jones, seconded by trustee Marevka.
Jones.
Yep.
Marevka?
Yes.
Bowden?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Item B, amplifier permit, Kristen Ham, 924 Lark Avenue. This is for a graduation/retirement party on June the 22nd from 5 to 9 p.m. for a one-man band, 7 to 9 p.m. I don't
And
know.
before we start, I believe trustee Ham was going to,
I would abstain from the vote.
okay, so he'll abstain from participating in this matter and from voting.
All right, any discussion? Questions?
So it's
Motion?
Saturday, right? It's a Saturday.
What's the one-man band play?
One song.
How long have you been?
Ukulele.
Hello, Dave. He's lead singer for a college band. So just a lead singer, no band.
Okay.
I'll motion it.
Second?
Second.
Motion by trustee Bowden, seconded by trustee Parker.
Bowden?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Jones?
Yes.
Marevka?
Yes.
And Ham?
All right. Item, good?
We're good.
All right. Item C, fence variance, number 1, K Sargent, 824 Bonnie Lane. Variance for a 7-foot privacy fence on rear property line and 6-foot privacy fence on west side of lot, not within 5 feet of sidewalk on a corner lot, and not fencing in the utility box. Is there someone here for that?
Hi, I'm sorry.
Hello.
I'm Eric Trophy.
So trustees, in your packet, you have a copy of the application, and I believe a little bit of a drawing of what is being requested, and let the trustees, I guess, ask any questions they deem fit. Or if you guys kind of want to explain what you're trying to do.
We're just trying to fence in the yard.
Is your backyard Piato Wilmington Road?
Yes.
Oh, okay. That's what I was,
Yeah, that's what I thought.
yeah.
And you are on a corner lot, correct?
Yes.
And that's really where the issue is coming from, is the
Right.
corner.
Trying to see.
So the variance is twofold, is it for the 7-foot?
It is. They are asking for 2 variances, basically. So they're on the corner of Meadow Drive. It's Meadow Drive, which is the entrance into the subdivision, basically
Right across the
across
street from Casey's.
basically. and Wilmington Peatone Road. And so their backyard abuts Wilmington Peatone Road, so that would be the corner lot. And so the first variance, or one of the variances, is from a 6-foot fence, privacy fence in the backyard, to 7 feet. So the variant, that'd be one variance. The second variance would be on Meadow Drive. That is, it's a side yard, and there is a side yard setback. So the ordinance says that they can't put a fence into the side yard, that it would come off of the back of the house. So any fence that would come into that side yard would be a variance. So that would be the second variance.
Taking the first one, the
Mhm.
7 foot, that's, what's the reasoning for requesting the 7 foot?
Our neighbors next to us have a 7 foot with a 1 foot lattice, so we
Mhm.
just kind of want to match the height on there so it doesn't, look weird being a foot, 2 feet shorter.
Okay.
So it's more for symmetry than, and also privacy because again, it is Peatone Road, a lot of
Probably
traffic.
get a lot of road noise and stuff. Yeah.
What type of fence is it?
Standard traditional privacy.
Is it plastic, wood?
Oh, I'm sure cedar.
Like a stockade fence?
I'm sorry, I don't know what that is.
It's like a wood fence with 4-inch planks and kind of a peaked or rounded top.
I would think so. Not 100%.
Yeah, there's all kind of different, but.
Because normally we normally do 6 foot max, don't we?
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
why the variance is being requested for the 7.
Yeah. Would you put lattice on the top like your neighbor, or it would just be
It would just be
the slats all the way up? Okay.
And how far off the sidewalk is the western fence you're asking for?
At least 5 feet away from the sidewalk, so it doesn't impede.
And it would be 6 feet off of the sidewalk on that side.
6 feet tall.
6 feet tall.
Okay.
5 feet.
5 feet off, 6 feet tall.
Correct.
Got it.
And normally we don't want the side yard fenced, is that correct? 'Cause
Correct.
it looks like a
Correct.
fort.
Right.
In the ordinance, it references vision.
And that was my question
the-
is, does it impede the line of sight?
Right.
It does not, based on what we see as we're exiting the subdivision. Already, there's the barrier with the welcome to, Park Lakes?
Welcome to the Meadows.
Welcome to the Meadows. That already blocks vision further than where you would have the fence if we had that approved.
I live in the
I was gonna say, you're
subdivision.
right there.
I would say that it would impede some vision of the cross traffic on Bonnet Lane through Meadow Lane.
That's what I was
Where
looking
that
at.
stop
And
sign is.
my other question is, are there 2 votes on this variance or just one general on both?
That's up to you. If you want to split them, that's fine.
I would split them.
I don't have any problem with the 6 foot rear fence.
The
It's a 7
7
foot
Or
rear
7
fence,
foot,
I don't have a
yeah.
problem with that at all. The corner one I think is problematic.
I do too.
I mean, typically, when we get into the side yards, that's where we run into a problem.
Yeah.
I mean, and that ordinance is in place for that reason.
Right.
Corner lots are always a pain to fence. They really are. I mean, if you want to go out at all. I mean, those setbacks are there for a reason, though.
And from a general appearance,
Right.
it looks like not what you'd want on every
Right.
corner lot.
No.
It's...
So I think what I'm hearing, at least from a couple trustees, is that, I mean, we can split the vote
Yeah.
on the variance. So I would ask for a motion to approve the 7-foot privacy fence along the back portion of the property, along the Peatone Wilmington Road portion.
Second.
Motion by trustee Bowden, second by trustee Marevka. And that's as it's stated in the application.
Bowden,
Yes.
Marevka?
Yes.
Jones?
Yeah.
Parker?
Yes.
And Ham?
Yes.
And then the second variance to build a 6-foot privacy fence on the west side of the lot, not within 5 feet of the sidewalk, extending from no further than the front wall of existing residence to no further than the rear property line with the utility box outside the fence. Is there a motion to approve that?
To go all the way over?
It's just that
Or
whole
just
number
behind
two.
the house?
Just
Yeah.
the side.
Right. It's the second part of the variance. That's what I'm just asking if there's a motion to approve that.
Which, to do the west side all the way to the front of the house?
Correct, to build the 6-foot privacy fence on the west side, so that's the side yard. So,
Sidewalk side.
correct. So there's no motion, so that would,
Someone could make a motion to deny me.
okay, so a motion to deny that second variance.
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Motion by trustee Jones, seconded by trustee Ham to deny the second variance to build the 6-foot privacy fence on the west side of the lot.
Jones?
Yep.
Ham?
Yes.
Parker?
Yes.
Bowden?
Yes.
Marevka?
Yes.
Motion carries. So we're good on the back, but we're not good on the side.
Okay, what can we do about that? Is that something we can revisit at another time with different dimensions?
You can always revisit it, I mean, if you change, anything in the request, it could always be looked at again. And maybe, we can, I don't know if we can do anything to kind of help them with that process, but,
Yeah, you can come back and talk to me if you
Okay.
want to.
We appreciate that.
no problem.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for your time.
And
They go from the
President
back of
Cross.
the house straight back.
Right.
I just want to mention how we'll bring the ordinance. So traditionally, we've approved these with ordinances. We didn't want to prepare them for tonight because
Okay.
we didn't know if they would be approved, but we'll come back and ratify them at the next meeting.
Okay. Very good. Number 2, R. Leclerc, 108 East Crawford, variance for 180 foot of 30-inch powder-coated steel fence, 15 inches from the sidewalk on a corner lot.
Good evening,
All right.
Brian Blair, 108 East Crawford, on the southwest corner of Crawford Street and Railroad Street. When we moved in 90, there was an existing hedge that went along Railroad Street and Crawford Street, and we were advised by the village that needed to be maintained at a height of 30 inches, which we've done to date. Over a period of time, as a result of a number of things, weeds that have choked out some of it, and particularly the winter kill from this year's severe winter, have caused some gaps in that hedge as well as some dead work. So it's not attractive at this time. What I'm proposing to do is to replace that with a steel fence that's 30 inches high, same height, black powder coated, so it has the same height. The fence has an open nature to it. You can see some pictures in this, so it actually has better visibility through the fence than the hedge has now. And to use that to really help with the appearance of that corner and to potentially provide a foundation for some additional landscape work that would greatly enhance the view and the look of that corner. So I'm looking for a variance to install that landscaping fence. It does not require digging, nor does it require any cement. It's designed to be posts that are in the ground. A pole goes through some loops on the panels and into that, and that fence can be dismantled at any time very easily to allow either access or maintenance. So it's a very versatile item. And wanted to present it tonight and to see if there were any questions that I could answer about it.
Trustees?
It's a metal fence that's powder coated?
Yes.
Is that the house that's like right over the tracks?
Right over the track, as you're going,
Like Schrantz's
as you're
old
going
house?
west, no. As you're going west across the tracks, it's on the west side of the tracks.
Okay.
So it'd be the first house on your left-hand side, kind of a kitty
Tall.
corner from Dr. Lowry, where Dr. Lowry's office
Right.
was. across
Tall,
the street.
white.
The big white house?
Right.
Okay.
Is it completely encompassing your yard? Or
No, it is not.
Is there
It does
gates?
not
or anything?
enclose the yard at all. There's no gates really required, but if one wanted a gate, one could pull one pole out and swing both panels at any point in the fence.
Yeah.
I'm just doing it along the sidewalk and inside the sidewalk at the current location of the hedge, but the back is open, and I believe I'm allowing at least a 10-foot path there for any easement that might be needed for the utilities. and it terminates before it even gets to the front of the house. So it's just basically replacing that hedge as a border. From a safety perspective, when my kids were growing up, it was a very good thing to have, because if a ball should happen to get out of the yard towards railroad and such, it was a reminder that the kids don't run out into the street.
Just kind of sets the boundaries of your property, like the
Yes.
bushes did.
And it's more decorative than trying to
Yeah.
contain.
Right.
Because it's not set in concrete.
Right,
Does
correct.
he really need a fence ordinance? Is it really a fence or is it a
He does.
decoration?
Well, based on the definition of fence in the ordinance, it says, any non-living structure which is a barrier and used for boundary, confinement, privacy, or partition purposes. So because it's kind of setting a partition, it meets the technical definition of that.
What was the last part about? I've got boundary, but what about?
Confinement, privacy, or partition purposes.
Oh, see, I was thinking because it doesn't have a gate, it doesn't go all the way around his yard.
No, it does not enclose any space.
It's just on the sidewalks, but.
Yeah.
I think we're just kind of going through a formal request. Personally, I don't see, this doesn't have any issues, like we were talking about in the other side yard issue where we're concerned about vision. It's open, it's just replacing a hedge. It's going to be more, it's actually going to increase visibility over the hedge, and I think
You're taking the hedge out?
Yes. Right now, about 80% of it is dead.
And I think it actually, as Ron said, I think it'll actually make that corner look, a lot nicer. Yeah.
So to remove it, you literally just go and grab it and pick it up.
Some of this stuff is so dead I could pull it out with my
No, he's
hand.
talking about the fence. He's talking about the
fence?
landscape.
Yes, I could take the pole out of that thing, take all the poles out, and those panels would just come out. That's not fixed. The pole, when I get it from the store, it's screwed into that base only for the purpose of keeping them together. So it's not a permanent installation. If we're talking anything like, maintenance on it, if there was any frost thrust of those things, it's an easy thing to do every year, to go through it, take your level, tamp it down if we need to, and redo it. I think you could take it apart in less than an hour and put it back together. It's an afternoon to do it if that was the concern. But it's not meant to be a permanent thing. In fact, it's not required, it's not designed for any holes to be dug, nor for any concrete footings. It's designed to be really a landscape accessory.
Yeah.
Motion, yes.
Any other discussion?
Did you mention what kind of surface is underneath the fence? Is it just grass that you'd have to maintain, like weed whack, or?
Well, what I would probably do and propose to do is, since I did have problems with renegade trees growing up, the birds come, they plant them, and that was contributing to the detriment of the hedge, because those roots would get intertwined and choke them out. I propose to dig that all out as best I can, and to put some heavy-duty landscape fabric over it to prevent the weeds from coming back up, and again to improve the look of it, and to provide also some options for future landscaping as well. That would really clean up that weed situation as well.
So some material over the fabric yet then?
Haven't decided what that might be. It might be something like some decorative patio blocks or something in a contrasting color. We've talked about perhaps putting some plants on the inside of the yard that otherwise would be too delicate to have by themselves, maybe like some lilies or such that would not grow any higher than the fence, but would, provide, again, some landscaping beauty to that corner.
Okay.
Yep. Any other discussion first? Okay, we have a motion by trustee Marevka to approve the variance request from Ronald Leclerc to install a 30-inch powder-coated steel landscape type fence as per the area of his application. Second by trustee Jones.
Marevka?
Yes.
Jones?
Yep.
Parker?
Yes.
Ham?
Yes.
And Bennett?
Yes.
Thank you, Ron.
Thank you.
So this too will come back next meeting in the form of an ordinance for
So
final approval.
from the decision tonight, may I proceed, or do I need to wait for that ordinance to be written in the next meeting?
I mean, given that it was 5-0, I think you should be fine.
Okay, just want to follow the rules.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, number 3, A Mays, 541 Oak, replace and move west side of 6-foot fence 10 foot closer to sidewalk than existing fence, replace back fence at easement line, and replace existing east side with variance from parallel fencing on corner lot.
That Mays, 541 Oak. The current fence that we currently have is in need of replacement. On the west side, I do want to extend it 10 feet out from my garage to the back of the property line. There's about 25 feet from where I want to stop my fence to the street. Also, there's 2 really big pine trees that will be in front of the fence, so it'll be blocking partial view. It's not gonna, there's nothing that the fence being moved out will block the corner from sight lines at all. The back of the line, again, I'm just replacing where it currently is. And then on the east side, currently the fence is parallel with my neighbor's fence already. We purchased the house last year. Speaking to him, it's been like that for years. He doesn't have an issue. My neighbor Tim doesn't have an issue with me replacing it where it currently is. And yeah, I just, my backyard currently, I have a in-ground swimming pool, so under the ordinance, it has to be fenced in. And I just want more room for my dogs and my children to be able to play, because right now it's all concrete.
Amy, do you have anything on that?
In order for him to replace his fence, which is existing, on the east side, which he mentioned is the parallel fence. Parallel fences are not allowed in the code. So, we could not permit him to do that. So, he could not replace that fence on the east side.
And the reason for that is because
As it
there's
is.
weeds growing up between them and nobody can maintain it,
Correct.
right?
Correct.
Okay.
So, I don't know if you've talked to your neighbor about either taking down his fence and you guys just putting your fence on the lot line.
Well, I've talked to him, but currently there is no weeds in between the fences that are currently there. And he doesn't have an issue. It's been like that for years.
Yeah.
He said it's not bothering him how it currently is, but he understands that the fence I'm trying to put up is gonna beautify the neighborhood. The fence we currently have is an eyesore. And I'm not putting up some cheap chain link. I wanna put up a nice cedar fence. And I can't pull the permit because the company, but you guys won't give me the permit and they won't do the work.
Right.
You can't really move too much more in than where the current fence is because we have an in-ground pool with plumbing. So we can't really.
There's pipes that are
There's
coming
pipes
from my
that are
gutters
coming.
that are cemented
Are you
through.
talking about the east side or are you
Yeah.
talking about
Yeah,
the west
east
side?
side.
On the east
Yeah.
side. So we can't really go much further in, if anything. And then the fence that's currently there, that's been there forever, is
Are
gonna
you talking
fall
about
down.
your fence or
Yes.
his
My
fence?
Our fence.
Have you talked to him about taking his fence down and then he wouldn't have one on that side except for yours, then he would join his to yours? That's what we mean by no parallel fence,
No, I get that, but
no
this is
two
how
fences.
it currently was when I purchased the home.
And we understand it, but
Yeah.
now in the ordinance today, it doesn't allow for
But
that.
what about grandfathering in? Because that's all I hear when I
Yeah.
talk to other people in town.
There's,
is
that's not a grandfather situation. And that's why I think Amy, was trying to talk to you before the meeting too about this, about talking to the neighbor.
They're not
Just-
gonna take their fence down because they have.
They have dogs, we have dogs.
But
you're
your
still
fence, your
connecting.
fence and their fence would be the fence that separates the 2 yards. Instead of having 2 fences running next to each other, you would have 1 fence.
No, I understand what you're saying.
So it wouldn't change,
Well, why is it allowed to be like that now?
because that was probably done before this ordinance was in place.
But I'm not changing
I understand
anything
that,
that
but
isn't currently there.
I understand, but the ordinance has changed since that was done. That's the
So
point.
we can just.
So without a
fix that
variance, you have to have a variance to do as it is now. A variance has to be given. That's what you're asking for. You're asking for a variance. But I guess what we're trying to say is you wouldn't need a variance if you took that fence, your fence, and your neighbor agreed to take that portion of their fence down and run your fence, on that side.
Okay, but
He has a chain link fence, so I don't think that's even possible. He'd have to take his whole entire fence down because he has a chain link fence that's all connected to his whole yard. So I don't see how that would even work, honestly. We
And
would have to ask him to take
under
his
the
entire
ordinance,
fence down.
and from what I found out through my insurance, I have to provide the fence that contains my pool. I can't rely on his fence.
And you are.
You are. I mean, if you're.
No.
If
but
you built
I-
a new one, you would be building your fence.
I get that, but if you guys don't let me build on that side, then I'm using his fence, because the fence that currently is there is falling apart.
I didn't follow that, but that's okay.
Okay,
So
is
he's
it his
saying- what
chain
he's-
link fence, I do the rest of my yard. I'm relying on his fence as a barrier to my swimming pool.
If he doesn't want to take his fence down,
Mhm.
our fence is gonna fall down.
Mhm.
And
Then
then
I'm
we're in
against-
violation because we have an in-ground pool. So we're kind of,
I'm in a rock and a hard place.
I mean.
But what I'm saying is you haven't talked to him about
I
that.
have talked to him, he doesn't want to take his fence down.
Okay, so.
But that's the first time that you've answered that question.
I said it numerous times, I've talked
No,
to
you
him.
well, you
and
said that you talked to him and he didn't mind you putting up a fence, but you
Well,
never
yeah,
said
'cause he doesn't
that he
wanna
didn't
take
want to take this
down
down.
his fence.
And again, he has a chain link fence, so he would have to take down his whole yard. And where we're at, everybody has chain link fences except us. They all back up to each other. So he doesn't want to take his fence down to put ours. And we're kind of in a
I understand.
place here because we have to have a fence.
So that's one variance is the east side. So then on the west side, as that would be a second variance where, again, we're on a corner lot and he wants to come out into the side yard setback. And how far did you want to come into
Only
this?
10 feet. It's
Okay,
still
so-
behind two huge pine trees that
Okay.
is gonna block majority view of the fence as it is currently.
Well, I mean, that's, the blocking the fence is not the issue. It's visibility of the street.
But you'll
view.
be able
Oh
to.
yeah, you can still see, we have a huge, you can look at the picture and see we have a huge lot. We're almost on a half acre. The trees block more of anything than they
How
do.
far out are the trees in your yard? In the side yard? How many feet?
Maybe 15. 15 on the
A little more
side.
than 15.
Your current fence on the front of your property to the west conforms to the village code, correct?
Yes.
Today.
Yeah.
I'm looking at a Google picture. Your neighbor's conforms currently because their fence is parallel with yours and parallel with your building front. My concern is if you move your fence out 10 feet, it will look very odd next to your neighbor and
No,
into
you're
your house.
on the wrong side.
No, I'm looking at your house right here. I can see it.
We don't have neighbors on this side.
It's a street.
To the north?
To the north?
You have neighbors to the north,
We're not
correct?
moving the fence out.
They're on the
You're-
Division
you're-
Street
You're
side.
moving it to the west,
Yeah, I'm moving on actual division side.
right, which will then push that fence out west of your neighbor's house. Currently, there's a perfect sight line going down both of the fronts of your houses.
You're talking about the neighbor behind us?
The neighbor on
To the north.
Piatone, North Piatone Road or whatever that is.
Right? To the
That
north.
has the fence out there?
Yeah, to the north,
To
right?
the north, right on Division Street. You have a neighbor on Division Street to the north, correct?
Yes, correct.
Okay. Your current fence is parallel to the front of their building.
Okay.
That's a question.
Yes, I
Okay.
would suppose.
So now if you move that fence 10 feet, it will no longer be parallel to the front of their building. It will stick out from both of your buildings,
Her
in my
fence,
opinion.
I think sticks out further than her building.
Okay. So for that reason, I don't agree that that's a good variance. I will not agree to it.
Questions, other questions from the trustees? No other discussion, no other questions?
There's no sidewalk there, right?
There's no sidewalks, no.
Nothing.
Like, as of currently, when you come around that North Pease Home Road, you see a decrepit fence. A nice cedar, dog-ear, shadow box fence is gonna look nice.
Right.
I'm beautifying the area, not,
So does your neighbor in the back, does he keep the weeds under control then through his fence?
In the
That's like,
easement?
We have
yeah,
an easement.
I keep,
We
do that.
it goes through
mow
there?
it.
Pat's totally right.
I mean, you can fit in there?
Oh, yeah, you can fit.
Well, yeah,
back there with their,
it's 5 or,
outlet.
it's like 5 or 6 feet of that easement's my property that I maintain since I've moved there.
Okay.
And like I said, currently on the other side, I weed whack in between underneath the fences as it is.
We have public, Bob from Public
He
Works
is
here.
correct. There is an easement behind there that either neighbor could have no problem maintaining.
Because they can fit through there.
That's where the sanitary sewer runs through those backyards on Oak. That's why it's so open back there.
You're talking to the east?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
It runs from Division through those yards?
Mhm.
Yes.
I think the greater concern is the west, right? And to the west, the fence line would be 31 feet off the face of the garage, is that correct?
No, it's only coming 10 feet from the edge of my garage, which currently, if you look, there is at least 6 feet technically from the edge of my property, brick that is extending from my house across my driveway. And that is
The
what
yellow
you
line,
guys,
does that represent a fence?
that's where I want to build the current fence.
No, the new fence. That was new.
Currently, no, that's
Color.
that's my
Fence on
house. So there's where the
that
fence
one.
is.
Oh, I got
I
you.
want to come off 10 feet from here.
Pat's-
Where's the
He's saying that's the
This
fence,
is,
not the
this is
yellow
the
line.
street. This is supposed to be 30
Right.
feet back.
Is
Yeah,
that your understanding, Pat?
see, like, it's coming 10
And
feet.
this is the existing fence.
See, what we're talking about is the corner of this fence.
Okay.
No, and I
That's why I'm
understand that,
confused.
but technically,
This is
right here, where my sidewalk is, there's brick all the way up to there, which is about 5, 6 feet. And according to what the village code says, from your furthest extruding thing, you can build a fence to. I'm only asking technically for 4 feet from that point, because that is bricked into the house. I should have took a picture. I didn't know it was gonna be
It's
this
just
extensive.
everybody's just trying to get a clear picture.
No, and I understand.
Did you get clarification?
Yeah. So where's the front door, on the south of the house?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying
So the house actually faces Division?
No, Oak.
Oh,
It's fence, not that.
My garage faces Division, and that's where I want to build it off so that I can have somewhat of a yard for my kids and my dogs.
You don't have a sidewalk there?
No,
No, there's no sidewalks.
the sidewalk ends,
Yeah, yeah. So
yeah, we don't have sidewalk.
So what happens when the sidewalks get that far?
When he wants to come.
But it still would be,
It's a good 20 feet away from a sidewalk. We have
Yeah.
a huge, I mean, you can look at it, we have a huge lot. It's nowhere near a sidewalk.
So
Does
it's just
P&Z
going
have
to
an
the
opinion?
this didn't go to, typically fence variances do not go, should not go to P and Z, they
Okay.
come to the board.
I thought they did. Okay.
Yeah, they did for a while, and that was
Okay.
kind of a,
So you're not wanting to go to the front of the house, all the way to the front. You just want it to go to the sides of the
Yes.
house?
from my garage, or the back of my garage, it comes out I want it 10 feet, which is behind them pine trees to the back of the lot. And then,
Around to the side. And
yeah. Like, I'm not trying to go away and fence in the front of my house.
So then how far is it from the street?
It's
Where
gonna be
you're putting
about,
your
it's gonna
fence?
be more than 20 feet from the street.
On the side.
From the side of, yeah, on the side of my house.
Front door is like there to the south.
Oh, okay.
That's what I'm looking.
So technically, that's the backyard, really.
Yeah.
That's, yeah.
There's a gate.
Yeah. Does everybody have that concept?
No, what's the gate?
Here. I'm kidding.
It took me a while to figure out which way it was going, I'm like.
There's a gate right there.
Okay. And then it's like this. Okay.
It's not up to yellow. It's not yellow.
No, that was me. I got a little over.
Oh, yeah, here, that's the driveway.
So this-
I
So
knew
the
that.
yellow doesn't.
Yeah, this is the
Yeah,
driveway here.
That's why I was
Yellow's
like, I
not
think
Show-
that's where I was confused.
Show trustee
I was like,
Jones.
So this is not the fence.
You want
That's why I kept looking at it, like, what is that?
Right,
his garage corner's right here.
right.
End of his property is right
Because
here.
that's his
He
driveway.
wants to come from this.
No, why isn't it drawn that way?
Here is what I'm kind of gathering. So the existing fence, yeah.
The
'cause see,
existing fence
she
is
said
along
this
the
would-
house.
It would
Right
just go
there.
that way. 10
Now
feet.
that's confusing.
Okay, now it
He's on a
makes
corner.
But
sense.
it's, like I said, it's still 20 feet from the
It
street.
can't be
She
past
said there'd be a
furthest extent.
building
It's
gate
still a
right there.
variance because it's still in your side yard setback.
No, and I understand
But-
that, but that's what I'm saying. I'm not trying to go all the way to the street and fence in my entire property. I just want to give a little bit more space for my dogs and kids.
Is that green space in that little square there? Right behind your house, right here by the pool? Is that green? Green space right there?
That?
Yeah.
A little bit, yeah.
Okay.
But currently as it sits is my daughter's trampoline and my dogs have no room. And I obviously can't put a trampoline on the outside of my fence for liability reasons.
So basically, we have two variances.
Right.
Here again.
Correct.
Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I guess, do we want to handle them one at a time, or do we want to handle them both together?
Can Bob speak more to the one to the east? The variance on the east that he's asking for. Are you okay with that?
Yes. I mean.
I'm not arguing, I'm just,
No, I mean, there's room for the neighbors to maintain it.
Okay.
It was put in there, it was really for when the village would maintain sanitary sewer. They didn't allow the fences, obviously they had to make an easement back there for us to get back in there, when they owned it, so. I've been back there, there's plenty of room to maintain it, I'll put it to you that way. So.
that's helpful.
On the back, the back side of the lot.
Right
The
here.
east.
Right here.
East side, yeah. And there's no variance being requested on the north side. North side you're fine with, correct?
They didn't say anything about the north side when I asked for a permit.
Okay.
Okay, any other questions, discussion?
At what distance does it become not parallel? Like, so 5 feet is parallel, is 20 feet? I mean, at what point does it become not parallel, even though it's really parallel? Do you follow?
I follow what you're saying, but I don't have an answer for
Okay.
you. I mean, I don't know if.
I
That's.
don't have an answer for you either.
Yeah.
It's,
I can just think of other properties that
Right.
have, maybe it's greater than 5, it's more like 20,
Yeah.
but
Right.
nonetheless, they're still parallel.
yeah.
And I think it comes down to when homeowners choose to invest in a fence, if you put your fence on your property line, you take risk of having that fence removed versus coming on the edge of the easement where it's safe and sound.
The problem with that is that not all, but many people, out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah.
And where do we dump the grass clippings? Over the fence. Where do we put those tires we just took up? Over the fence. And that's
The other people have.
frequently the case. That's why originally when the ordinance was written on the property line was that everything was encapsulated in your yard.
Right.
And you couldn't dump stuff where the neighbors had to look at it.
I know they have the,
All right, any other questions, discussion? So, together or one at a time?
One at a time. And I will move to approve the one to the east,
Which is the parallel fences?
parallel fences.
Okay.
I second.
Motion by trustee Bowden, seconded by trustee Marevka to approve the variance for the parallel fence on the east side.
Bowden.
Yes.
Marevka.
Yes.
Jones.
Yeah.
Parker.
Yes.
And Ham.
No.
So what do we have there? We have
Four yes, 1 no.
4 yes, 1 no. Okay, so that one carries. And then the second variance is for the 10-foot extension on the west side of the property. 10-foot extension on the west side of the property. Is there a motion to approve that variance?
Blocking, right? You can still see everything because there's still a lot of space between there.
There's a lot.
If you bring up a Google map, you can see where I'm going is behind the pine trees that are currently there, that are gonna be in front of the fence.
So the pine trees will be on the street side?
Yeah. I'm not fencing them in.
I motion yes.
Motion by trustee Marevka, is there a second? Is there a second? There is no second, so I would ask for a motion to deny the variance for the 10-foot extension on the west side of the property.
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Motion by trustee Jones, seconded by trustee Bowden to deny the 10-foot variance on the west side of the property.
Should they go out less? Like 5 feet?
Jones.
Yes.
Bowden.
Yes.
Ham.
Yes.
Parker.
Yes.
Marevka.
No.
Okay. That motion passes 4-1. Item D, review quotes, approved purchase of new street sweeper. Bob?
Well, as you all know, the village does have a sweeper. The street sweeper is getting pretty old. It's 2002. It's got some hours on her. Starting to really nickel and dime the village to maintain it. So I proposed this year, I tried to put in a budget to budget a new one. I reached out to the two big manufacturers of sweepers, Elgin and Timco. Timco is what we have in-house right now. The dealer, EJ Equipment's out of Mantino. That's who's done some major service stuff to it. Most of the other stuff we do in-house. We received 2 quotes, one from Elgin, one from EJ Equipment, or actually, I'm sorry, Standard Equipment. They're the dealer for the Elgin. While I'm at it, around, and you can pass them around, kind of get a comparison of what we're looking at as far as Elgin and Timco.
So the committee has looked at this, correct? A little bit?
Yes,
Okay.
I brought it to the committee, yes.
Was there any thoughts or recommendations from the committee?
I like buying it in Mantino because it's so much handier than the other dealer. My knowledge of street sweeping equipment is pretty light. I count on Bob to.
Yeah, like I said, the village has always had one. It's actually good for not only having one for the village, but it's good for emergencies. If I believe back in the 90s, we went to Plainfield after the tornado with our sweeper. So it's good to help the neighbors.
Right.
So
I know just recently, last year, 2 years ago, Crete had a major happening with wind and stuff over there, and I called Mayor Einhorn and said, do you guys need anything? He goes, can you send your sweeper?
Yep.
So we did.
So Crete doesn't even have a sweeper, which is kind of shocking to me, but yeah.
How many hours are in our sweep?
We have about 2,500.
Now, what are the wearable parts on a sweeper?
You have a blower, you have belts, pulleys, the head. The head is actually what does the sucking.
Is that like a root style blower?
Yeah.
Okay.
So what it does is it's when you suck up grit, it's abrasive to the head.
I'm familiar with
So it wears holes in it. We've had to weld it up here and there. So yeah, it's due. So
do you use an airlock?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which one did you like better?
I like the Timco better. Not that I don't like the Elgin. The Timco, it's just more convenient for us as far as if we had to have major service done, we're going 6 miles instead of 60 miles.
Right.
So.
And the major service on the old one, does that include the airlock and blower recently?
Yeah, we just replaced that, I believe, 2 years ago. I haven't pulled the bills, but
they're expensive.
They're expensive.
Yeah.
So.
And was it original airlocks? Maybe.
It was the original.
Okay.
Which is shocking. So.
I see a trade-in on the Whirlwind, for the Whirlwind, but I don't see a trade-in on the Timco one.
On which one, Donna?
On the one for the Timco, I don't see, is there a trade-in on that one?
It is included.
Okay.
I believe it's included in the price. Let me take a look here.
It was a $20,000 trade-in, wasn't it?
Yeah, they actually.
And a $7,000 additional we asked for.
Correct. Yeah, it's right there. I'm sorry.
Oh, right here. When it's like typed out. This one.
Originally, they offered us $20,000 for the trade, and then Amy and Bob went down and negotiated with them.
Yeah, he talked to them because one was a higher interest rate, one was less trade-in.
Yes, this discount is actually from the factory, so
Okay.
it's from Timco. So it's kind of like, we're an owner of a Timco, kind of like you own a Dodge, you get a, kind of discount like that.
So it was an additional $7,000
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
Nice.
And what was the proposed lease that we were talking about?
Well, I talked to Marcy. We've owned this one since 2002. We could go 5 years or 7 years. We're gonna have it. Or we can do 3 years. It's up. Where the board wants to go about it.
Was it new in 2002?
It was new.
Okay.
Does the village usually purchase capital equipment, or do they lease big ticket items like this?
We have in the past.
What we've done in the past is we've done like a 3-year lease. And at the end of the lease, it's usually, I think it's $1. That's what we pay.
Basically,
So
the
if we-
lease agreement is a payment agreement.
Right.
Right.
So it's not,
With a dollar buyout.
it's just
Yeah.
taken and divided by the number of years, and then
And
eventually.
does the village do any lease versus buy analysis to see which would be better than the other?
One advantage is that you keep a pocket full of cash on hand as opposed to chucking it all out.
Yeah.
You are gonna pay some juice on the money. Did you try to negotiate at all the interest rate on the amount?
They did. They actually, they did lower that amount. It's just not.
What was it originally when we talked? Do you remember? I don't remember.
I didn't bring it with me, Mike, but I know